The screen door slammed behind me like a gunshot, but it was my father's voice that shattered the evening calm. "You think you're better than us now, Keith? After all we've done?" His words hung in the humid Texas air, thick as the barbecue smoke from the neighbor's grill, while Mom just stared at the ground, her rosary beads twisting in her lap like they could pray away the truth I'd finally spit out. I was 16, standing on the cracked porch of our double-wide in Houston's outskirts, heart pounding so hard I swore the cicadas went silent. And in that split second, I knew. This was the end of the boy they thought they raised. That night, the house turned into a battlefield. Dad's Bible thumped against the coffee table as he quoted Leviticus like it was a loaded shotgun. His face redder than the sunburn on his neck from the oil rig shifts. "This ain't natural, boy. It's the devil's work, and I won't have it under my roof." Mom didn't yell. She never did. She just wept, soft and broken, murmuring about how I'd break her heart, how the church ladies would whisper when they saw me at Sunday service. My little sister, Jenny, peeked from her bedroom door, eyes wide as saucers, too young to understand but old enough to absorb the venom. I packed a duffel with whatever fit. Faded jeans, a couple of tees, the Polaroid of me and my high school crush that I'd hidden under the mattress, and bolted before dawn, hitchhiking to Austin with a trucker who chain-smoked Camels and asked no questions. The road out of there felt like freedom wrapped in barbed wire. Austin's skyline glittered like a promise as I crashed on a buddy's couch in East Side, scraping by on busboy gigs at dive bars where the drag queens tipped better than the frat boys. College was a pipe dream at first, but I hustled. Scholarships for disadvantaged youth, community college night classes, slinging lattes at a campus cafe to pay for books. That's where I first heard the word resilient, from a professor who saw the shadows under my eyes and didn't pry. By 22, I had a bachelor's in marketing from UT, dead up to my eyeballs, but a fire in my gut that no sermon could snuff out. New York called next, that concrete jungle where dreams either soared or got crushed under taxi tires. I landed a junior copywriter gig at a midtown ad agency, the kind with glass walls and egos bigger than the billboards we dreamed up. The city was a revelation. Rainbow flags fluttering from fire escapes in Chelsea, guys holding hands on the subway without a second glance. But scars don't fade with skyline views. I'd wake from nightmares of Dad's bellows, or catch myself flinching at loud voices in boardrooms, convinced every sideways look was judgment reloaded. It was in a cramped WeHo coffee shop. Wait, no, that was LA later. Stick to the arc that I met Nathan. We'd both fled the South, him from Atlanta's Bible Belt gripes, me from Houston's humid hypocrisy. He was interning at a rival firm, all sharp wit and sharper cheekbones, with eyes like polished oak that saw right through my armor. Our first conversation was over spilled oat milk lattes. "You always this clumsy? Or is it just my magnetic personality?" He'd quipped, handing me napkins with a grin that disarmed me faster than any pickup line. We bonded over bad Tex-Mex takeout and worse family stories, trading tales of holidays spent dodging relatives' prying eyes. Nathan got it, the ache of loving who you love in a world that preached tolerance but practiced exclusion. By 28, we'd built something real. A shoebox apartment in Brooklyn with exposed brick and a fire escape garden of succulents, where we'd collapse after 12-hour days, his head on my chest as we binge-watched old westerns, laughing at the irony of all those stoic cowboys hiding their hearts. My career exploded when I pitched a campaign for a queer-owned craft beer brand, raw, unapologetic ads with everyday guys kissing under stadium lights, sales skyrocketed, and suddenly I was senior creative director, salary 6 figures, bonuses that bought us weekend getaways to the Berkshires. Nathan climbed too, landing a spot as a talent scout for indie films, his passion for stories mirroring my own for spinning them into gold. But success has a way of dredging up ghosts. It started with a Facebook message from Jenny, now 25 and married with a kid on the way. "Hey big bro, miss you. Mom's not doing great. Dad's retired, rig work wrecked his back. Could use some advice. Or help." I stared at the screen in our kitchen, the one with the vintage diner stools Nathan insisted on, steam rising from my coffee like unanswered questions. Help? After they shipped me out like yesterday's trash? Nathan found me there, shoulders hunched, and wrapped his arms around me from behind. "You don't owe them shit, Keith. But if you want to dip a toe, I'm right here." His voice was steady, that southern drawl softened by years in the city, a lifeline I clung to. I wired $1,000 that week, call it curiosity, or the masochistic pull of blood ties. Mom called the next day, voice frail over the line, thanking me like I'd cured cancer. We were wrong, baby. So wrong. God forgives, and so do we. Dad grunted in the background, something about prodigal sons. But it rang hollow. The asks escalated. $5,000 for Dad's spinal surgery. 10 for Jenny's crib and unexpected medicals. I sent it all, rationalizing it as therapy, paying off the debt of silence they'd imposed, buying peace for the kid version of me still hiding in my chest. Nathan saw the toll first. You're not their ATM, babe. You're turning into a ghost in your own life. We'd argue in whispers after their calls, his frustration mirroring mine, but laced with that unwavering faith he had in us. One night, after a particularly guilt-tripping voicemail from Mom, "How can you let family suffer when you're rolling in it?" I snapped. They didn't suffer when they called me an abomination, when they let the whole church know so I'd be the freak show cautionary tale. Nathan pulled me close, our foreheads touching, breaths sinking like they did that first awkward date in Central Park. Then set the boundary, Keith. For you. For us. The breaking point came on a sticky July evening, 3 years into the drip feed of dollars. I'd flown solo to Houston for what Jenny swore was a reconciliation barbecue. Nathan staying back to wrap a film scout in LA. The old house looked shabbier, vinyl siding peeling like old skin, the porch sagging under the weight of potted geraniums Mom still fussed over. Dad met me at the door with a bear hug that smelled of Old Spice and regret, but his eyes flicked to my rental car's plates. New York Vanity. Fancy ride, son. Must be treatin' you good up there. Inside, it was a minefield of nostalgia and knives. Jenny cooed over her toddler, Ethan, who toddled toward me with gummy smiles, oblivious to the undercurrents. Mom set the table with her famous brisket, the one I'd devoured as a kid before everything soured, and for a heartbeat, it felt like absolution. We prayed before eating. Dad leading, voice booming about gratitude and second chances, and I bit my tongue on the irony. Then, midway through the meal, Dad cleared his throat, fork hovering over his plate. Keith, we appreciate what you've done. More than words. But things are tighter than ever. The house payments behind, and with the medicals piling up. He trailed off, glancing at Mom, who nodded like a co-conspirator. Jenny chimed in, hesitant. We hate asking, but maybe a loan? 20 grand could square us away till Dad's pension kicks in proper. The room tilted. 20 grand, like it was pocket change, like the years I'd clawed from nothing meant nothing. My fork clattered against the plate, the sound echoing like that slammed door a lifetime ago. A loan, I echoed, voice low, tasting bile. After you told me I was going to hell for loving a man? After you let Pastor Reynolds pull me aside at youth group to pray the gay away, while the whole congregation whispered. Dad's face hardened, that old thundercloud rolling in. Water under the bridge, boy. Family sticks together. Ain't that what the good book says? Family? I laughed, bitter as black coffee. You disowned me at 16. Kicked me out with nothing but a backpack and your curses. I built everything from scratch, while you forgot I existed until my bank account got fat. Mom's hand fluttered to her chest, eyes welling. Keith, honey, we were scared, confused. But you're our son. Blood's thicker. Blood. I stood, chair scraping like nails on chalkboard. Blood didn't stop you from letting me walk alone. From not one call, one letter, in 12 years until you smelled money. Ethan's cries pierced the air as Jenny scooped him up, her face crumpling. Dad rose too, fists balled. But it was his words that gutted me. Ungrateful. After all we sacrificed. If it weren't for us raising you right. Raising me right? The dam broke. I grabbed my keys, storming toward the door, their pleas chasing me like hounds. You raised a survivor, Dad. And survivors don't forget. Outside, the Texas sun dipped low, painting the sky in bruises of orange and purple. I drove to a motel on the interstate, hands shaking on the wheel, replaying the venom. That night, I called Nathan, voice cracking over the line. I can't do this anymore. They're vampires, Nate, sucking me dry. His flight landed at dawn. We met at a greasy spoon off I-10, him sliding into the booth with coffee already ordered. Black for me, 2 sugars for him. You look like hell, he said, but his thumb traced circles on my knuckles under the table, grounding me. We talked for hours, dissecting the rot of conditional love, how my family's forgiveness was just a ledger of debts they expected repaid. By noon, we decided boundaries hard and fast. No more wires. Therapy for me, maybe even a letter, unspoken words finally voiced. Back in Brooklyn, the air felt lighter, crisp with fall's promise. Nathan surprised me with tickets to a screening of his latest Scout, a queer indie about fractured families finding fragile peace. We held hands through the credits, his warmth a reminder that chosen family outshines blood every time. But the ghosts weren't done haunting. 2 months later, the first crack in our fortress appeared. Not from them, but from within. I'd started drafting that letter in fits and starts, words pouring out like pus from a wound. The terror of that porch confession, the loneliness of bus rides to nowhere, the way their silence echoed louder than any shout. Nathan read drafts over my shoulder, offering tweaks with that editor's eye. But one evening, as snow dusted the fire escape, he hesitated. "This is brave, Keith, but what if they twist it? Use it against you?" I waved it off, ego bruised but resolve steel. "Leching. It's for me, not them." We sealed it with a kiss that tasted of mulled wine and mischief, his laughter vibrating against my lips as we danced to an old Patsy Cline record in the living room. Life hummed on. Holiday parties at the agency where colleagues toasted my inspirational pitches. Nathan's film wrapping with buzz that landed us invites to Sundance. For the first time, I felt unburdened, like shedding snakeskin after a long molt. Then the betrayal landed like a sucker punch. It was Valentine's Day of all ironies. I'd planned a quiet dinner at our spot in the village, candlelit pasta, a bottle of that craft beer from my big campaign. My phone buzzed mid-commute, a text from an unknown number. A screenshot of my letter, forwarded from Jenny's email, plastered across a family Facebook group chat. "See what your brother's saying about us? After all we've forgiven." Dad's words, typed in all caps rage. Below it, comments from aunts and uncles I'd barely known. Disrespectful. Hollywood's turned him soft. Pray for his soul. My stomach plummeted. How? The letter was unsent, a draft in my cloud drive. Nathan met me at the restaurant, his face ashen. He'd gotten the same forward, pieced it together from a mutual cousin's accidental group ad. Jenny must've. God, Keith, I'm so sorry. But it wasn't her. A quick trace showed Mom's IP, her desperate grasp for ammunition after I'd ghosted the last plea for cash. They'd hacked my life or bribed someone close. Turns out, an old high school pal, now a reformed church tech whiz, had sold them login creds for a donation to the family fund. Rage boiled over dinner, plates untouched, my fork bending in my grip. They didn't just betray me, they weaponized my pain, like I'm still that scared kid they could bully. Nathan's hand covered mine, steady as ever. Then fight back. Not with money, with truth. Go public if you have to. Own your story. The idea ignited something feral. By spring, I channeled it into work. A TEDx talk on the cost of conditional love, raw and unfiltered, broadcast from Austin to echo back at them. The stage lights burned hot, but my voice didn't waver as I recounted the shaming, the exile, the ATM years. Family isn't blood. It's the people who stay when the world's screaming to run. Applause thundered, but it was Nathan's tear-streaked face in the front row that anchored me. The video went viral, shares from queer orgs to Southern mom blogs, forcing a reckoning. Their response was a blitz. Voicemails from Mom, sobbing apologies laced with blame. "We only wanted to show you grace." Dad's curt email. "Proud of you, son. But family's private." Jenny called voice small. "They made me send it, Keith. I didn't want to hurt you." Lies layered on lies. But the viral storm unearthed truths. Old neighbors posting about the church's ex-gay whispers. Jenny confessing in a late-night DM about her own hidden bisexuality, crushed under the same roof. Climax hit during Pride Month, a sweltering June weekend in Manhattan. Nathan and I marched with our agency float, rainbows everywhere, his arm linked in mine as confetti rained down. Mid-route, my phone vibrated. A video call from Houston. I almost ignored it, but curiosity won. Dad's face filled the screen, gaunt in a hospital gown. Mom hovering like a shadow. "Keith, it's bad. Cancer. Stage 4. Come home. Please." The world blurred. Cheers fading to white noise. Nathan's squeeze the only tether. Betrayal's echo rang. Was this real, or another hook? Tests confirmed it later. Real as the chemo scars. But in that moment, suspicion warred with the boy who'd once bandaged Dad's work cuts. I hung up, chest heaving, and Nathan pulled me into an alley alcove, away from the parade's pulse. "What do you need?" he whispered, forehead to mine, breaths mingling with the scent of street hot dogs and summer sweat. "Time," I choked. "And you." We stood there, hearts sinking amid the chaos, his presence a balm on the fresh wound. That night, in our bed tangled with sheets and unspoken fears, he held me through the sobs. "Whatever you choose, I'm your family. Always." The flight to Houston was a gauntlet of what-ifs. Nathan came, no questions, his hand in mine through turbulence that mirrored my gut. At the hospital, the sterile beep of machines greeted us like old foes. Dad looked small in the bed, tubes snaking like accusations, but his eyes, those fierce eyes, softened at my approach. "Didn't think you'd come. For Mom. For Jenny. For the kid I was." No hugs, just chairs pulled close. Nathan a quiet sentinel by the window. Conversations unfolded in fragments. Dad admitting the shame was his own fear, projected like a bad film reel. Mom whispering regrets over lukewarm jello, how faith had twisted into a cage for us all. Jenny brought Ethan, who climbed into my lap, tiny fingers tracing my watch. Nathan's gift, engraved with our story, uncut. Betrayal's sting lingered, but humanity crept in. The raw vulnerability of a man facing his end. The tentative bridges over chasms of years. Dad passed a week later, under a sky bruised with storm clouds. His last words a gruff, "Love you, son. Mean it this time." Mom clung to me at the funeral, the church pews half empty, whispers replaced by awkward nods. Jenny and I talked real, her coming out in whispers, my hand on her shoulder promising the ally I'd wished for at 16. Back in New York, the weight lifted, not gone but shared. Nathan and I adopted a rescue mutt, a scruffy terrier named Scout, who bounded through our lives like unfiltered joy. My talk morphed into a nonprofit, Outroots, funding queer youth shelters in the South, turning pain into passageways. Mom visited once, tentative steps over Thanksgiving turkey, Ethan giggling at Nathan's silly voices. It wasn't fairy tale mended. Cracks showed in silences, old habits, but growth bloomed in the spaces between. One crisp autumn dawn, as leaves skittered across Prospect Park, Nathan dropped to one knee amid the joggers and dog walkers, ring glinting like a vow. "Keith Harlan, you've survived storms I can't imagine. Marry me." Not despite the scars, but because of the man they forged. Tears blurred the yes, our kiss sealing it under a canopy of turning gold. Family, I'd learned, isn't forged in blood or shame. It's elected, daily, in the choices to stay, to forgive not for them, but for the light it lets in. And in Nathan's arms, with Scout barking at squirrels, I finally believed I deserved it. Epilogue whispers in the quiet moments now, as wedding plans unfold like wildflowers after rain. We've picked a venue in the hill country, neutral ground, Texas soil without the ghosts. A rustic barn strung with lights, where queer couples from Outroots will dance under stars that don't judge. Mom's RSVP came with a handwritten note. "Proud to witness your joy, son. Wish your dad could too. It's progress fragile as spun glass, but real." Jenny's Ethan's flower boy, her own journey unfolding with a therapist and a girlfriend who bakes killer pecan pie. Nathan's film premiered at Tribeca last month, a semi-autobiographical tale of two Southern boys finding North, critics raving about its tender ferocity. We watched from the back row, his fingers laced in mine, the screen flickering our shared aches into something beautiful. Afterward, at the after-party, a producer cornered me. "Your story's got legs, Harlan. Let's talk series." I laughed it off, but later, over rooftop Manhattans, I confessed to Nathan, "Maybe, if it's about redemption, not revenge." He grinned, that lopsided smile that still unravels me. "Write it with me? Our version, messy, true, full of love that fights back." We clinked glasses to it, the city sprawl below a testament to reinvention. Challenges linger, of course. Mom's health wobbles, diabetes creeping like doubt, and the wires resume, smaller now with I love yous tacked on. I set limits, therapy sessions unpacking the resentment, but there's grace in the trying. Last call, she asked about the wedding colors. Something blue? For new beginnings? I teared up, promising photos, the boy in me nodding yes. Outroots thrives, too. Shelters in Houston and Atlanta. Kids like 16-year-old me finding couches and counsel instead of curbs. One volunteer, a trans teen with fire in her eyes, reminds me daily. Survival's a spark, but community fans it to flame. Nathan scouts talent for a doc on the project. His lens capturing not just faces, but futures. As summer fades into harvest gold, we walk the park paths, Scout tugging at his leash, Nathan's head on my shoulder during our slow jogs. Remember that coffee spill? He muses one evening, sunset painting us in amber. Fate's clumsy, huh? Clumsy and kind. I reply, pulling him close. The shaming at 16 forged a path I wouldn't trade, through betrayals that tested, loves that healed. To this, a life elected, unapologetic, rich with the family we chose. In the end, it's not about the ATM withdrawals or the viral vents. It's the humanistic pulse beneath, the reminder that even shattered vessels hold light if we dare to mend. And in America's vast, flawed heartland of dreams deferred and reclaimed, that's the story worth telling. One of quiet triumphs, where love, in all its stubborn glory, outlasts the storms.